What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the RTG career mode. This is episode number 22, and we start today's stuff on the back of our win over Girona to progress through to the Copa del Rey final, our first cup final of this save, and we'll be taking on Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid as well. But it's back to matters in the league as March begins today. We start off with a scouting update and also an academy update as well. I always run through these really quickly. I like to show you like all of the scouting though. I like to show you like all the scout reports I have in every single player I either sign or reject. I do need to speed it up, of course, otherwise it will take up like half of the video. There are many reasons as to why that is. One of them is to kind of, show you my thinking behind, why I cherry pick and show you what players I wouldn't pick and the players that I would pick as well. And also as well, just to show that there's no funny business going on here. The players in my academy have all been scouted and you'd see them appearing in the scout report as well. In fact, can you even do potentially special youth players nowadays? Can you even do that? Because there's no catalogue anymore, is there? I know when you start a career mode save, you get given like a high potential youth player and a few accounts. Can you even do potential to be special nowadays? It's been a while since I've done one. I don't even know if it's possible nowadays. Huh. Well, that's just blowing my mind. 1 minute into the episode. I don't think you can do it anymore. Anyway, starting today's episode off here, we take on Real Madrid away at the Bernabeu, travelling to the Spanish capital again on the back of the win over Girona. So back to matters in La Liga now, and desperately trying to keep ourselves in the hunt for a European place. Now, top four, as we know, is incredibly unlikely. Still possible, but incredibly unlikely. But 5th and 6th, Europa and Conference League, definitely is still a possibility. If we're going to do it though, we need to get back to consistent form. Our last few games in the league have been really mixed in terms of results. We need to go back to consistent form and good form, and including scalps as well. First game, Real Madrid away at the Bernabeu. Nacho Fernandez, Real Madrid, would you say legend? Well, certainly icon, led us out. And in the end, 38 minutes in, after I hit the bar of Lorenzo Niga just a few moments ago, Adama Traore goes one-on-one, rounds Courtois, seats to Belgium, and pops it into the back of the net with a little sneaky little finish as well. I have to say, like, I'm rounding the goalkeeper a lot more nowadays, and I'm really enjoying it as well. I tend to round goalkeepers, or only try and round goalkeepers, primarily with quick players with good agility, and also good balance as well. Traore now has 16 goals this season, several of which have come from rounding the goalkeeper. It always looks nice when you put a goalkeeper on the floor. Used to be a lot easier back in the day to round a goalkeeper, not so much nowadays. You've got to get the timing just right, but when you do pull it off, it looks really, really cool. So in the second half, after a poor first half from Real Madrid, they did come out of the blocks flying, looking for that response, as we expected. Great save there by Nunez, kept us still leading by a goal, and then directly from the corner, once again, fantastic stop by our number one, going for the golden glove in his first year here to deny Tchouaméni. But it was all Real Madrid in the first half, man. I had 10 men behind the ball. I was desperately trying to keep them at bay, keep us still leading by one. That's a recipe disaster against a really powerful side like Real Madrid. Toni Kroos bangs one in from range, and the German gives the hosts the leveller. So it's 1-1, and I thought, sod this. Like, I can't sit there and defend for the rest of the game, because Real is surely going to get themselves in front for the first time. I might as well go on the offensive and try and restore our lead instead. And with 7 minutes to go, oh, it's a beautiful chip from the kid. Toni Flores sent through 1-on-1 after a lovely, absolutely lovely team build up there. Really, really nice passing, really good off the ball movement, which you don't get to say very often in FIFA, as I'm sure you all know. But that was really good off the ball movement. Toni Flores fed through 1-on-1, chips it over Courtois for his 7th of the season, and it would prove to be the game winner as well. Yep, our best result as Malaga Gaffer, no doubt about that. Going to the Bernabeu and winning by 2 goals to 1. Traore in the first half, Kroos with the leveller, but Flores with the winner. So, yep, Nacho Fernandez gets his revenge, if you will, after being released by Real Madrid in the summer. Would you call Nacho Fernandez a Real Madrid legend? That's a really interesting question. Now, this is something I have a bit of a pet peeve about nowadays, but I feel like the term legend gets thrown around and bandied around a little bit too frequently. This might just be me, but it does feel as though nowadays, like a player might play like 2 or 3 years for a club, and suddenly when they hang up their boots or they return, they're regarded as a bit of a legend from that club. To me, legend should be, do you know what it reminds me of? It's like the Hall of Fame, for example, like the Hall of Fame, especially in the NBA. It seems as though now maybe I'm being a little bit too critical here, but I feel like there's some players in there that, you know, probably won't be known to even some, you know, really passionate basketball fans, and yet they're in the Hall of Fame, which is like the most prestigious honour, you know, or title you could have, being regarded as a Hall of Fame sort of player. I think it's the same with like legends in football. I see it a lot nowadays, you know, players being regarded as legends for a club when they've only played like 2 or 3 years, you know. Now, I understand if they did something ridiculous in those 2 or 3 years, but sometimes I feel it's just for like a player who's been a decent player. You know, like a decent player, regularly held down a first team spot in those 2 or 3 years, and they're regarded as a bit of a legend. And it's like, well, not really. I mean, legend to me is, you know, it should be reserved for, you know, not. It doesn't always have to be like a one club man, for example, like a Jamie Carragher at Liverpool, for example, or a Paul Scholes at Manchester United. But I think that, you know, they could be considered legends for what they've done for the club in all those years. I sometimes see legend being given to players who, again, only spent like 3 years at a club, and maybe they were their starting right back for all those years, but that was kind of it. Maybe they like won like a League Cup or something, but that's kind of it. And it's like, oh, he's a legend of the club. It's like, is he? Legend? Really? We're saying this guy is one of the most important figures in club history. Is he really a legend? Like, that's a really good question. Would Nacho Fernandez be considered a legend for Real Madrid? And I want to say that word again. Legend. I think I got the title of today's episode. Legend. Would he be a legend of Real Madrid? I mean, definitely an icon. Definitely someone who you would say, you know, he deserves to be remembered for all the years he gave for Real Madrid. You know, in the squad, you know, constantly, several caps for Spain, representing the club on the international stage as well, and for all the things he won, for the fact he's been regarded as a bit of a model pro, or playing centre-back or full-back as well, whilst he never really needed the spotlight. Nacho Fernandez never needed the spotlight at Real Madrid, he just gave his all for the team. So, legend, I don't know. Like, I really, you know, it's a tough one, but I really don't know if you could regard him as a legend. What do you guys think? Would Nacho Fernandez be regarded as a legend for Real Madrid or an icon? We're going off like Football Manager, you know, player sort of like not recommendations, like player referrals, if you will. Legend or icon? I'd say icon, personally. But then again, maybe I'm being a little bit too critical there. Anyway, following the win over Real Madrid, we lost 2-1 to Espanyol. Moise Kean scoring the first one. This guy always scores against me. And then we had Granada in the Andalusia derby. We drew 1-1 in that game there. So this right now is the reason why I don't know if we're going to make a European spot. Because Espanyol, after the win they got against us there in that second game today, that saw them leapfrog us in the table and go into 5th. Consistency, and I know sometimes I sound like a bit of a broken record when I say this, but consistency is king, and I say it all the time, and it really is true. If you're playing a league season, you have to be consistent. You can't win one, then fail to win the next 2, and then maybe pick up a scalp there, and then lose 3 on the bounce, and then get a draw, and then get a win, and then draw 2 in a row, and expect to be finishing anywhere above mid-table. It's not going to happen. Simple maths. So yeah, I think that right now is probably why we're not going to make Europe at this point. There's still a definite chance, but we're definitely going to make top 4 with this sort of form. No doubt about that. And again, with consistency being king, it's really dropped off. The cup run has been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact we're going to our first cup final. I can't wait for it coming in 2 episodes' time against Atletico Madrid. But that is the one thing that has kind of hampered me recently. Like I've just really struggled. Maybe distracted. I don't really know. Fatigue, not too sure. But in terms of the cup run, that's been great. But in a weird way, it kind of has being as damaging as positive as well. Great to get to a final, but I'm really struggling in the league now. Final game today, final game of March. Getafe away in Madrid. Went down by a goal in the second after Serbian Alexander Mitrovic scoring after his transfer from Fulham. Getafe have the lead. 66 minutes in though, we would thankfully find our leveller through. That man once again scored in the game against Espanyol and scores in this one as well. Adam Zorgain, 5th of the season, finally, after a tough start with the Algerian, I'm finally starting to get the best out of him. So, 1-1 the final score. And our inconsistent run of form, if you will, continues. Just a 1 win in our last 4 games. And the funny thing is, it came away at the Bernabeu. But yep, just a 1 win in our last 4 games. 5 points for a possible 12. And it's why we've now dropped down to 7th in the table. 1 point behind Espanyol and now 8 behind Sevilla and Atletico Madrid. I don't think the top 4 or even 5th is going to be made up now. It's all about that 6th and final European spot. But that will end today's episode of the RTG Career, guys. Big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you had, then please do drop a like. Most of you all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you for the next episode of the RTG Career Mode very soon.